The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello. On behalf of RBCS, RBCS New Zealand, and Software TestWorks, we welcome everyone today to this webinar on 10 worst things I ever did or saw that screwed up testing. I am Rex Black, president of RBCS, a worldwide testing and quality assurance firm serving clients ranging from small startups to Fortune 20 global enterprises. Since 1994, RBCS has been both a pioneer and a leader in quality hardware and software testing. RBCS has offices in the United States, New Zealand, Australia, and Sri Lanka, with partners around the world. RBCS delivers insight and confidence to our clients, helping them get quality software and hardware products to market on time and with measurable return on investment. RBCS has a team of international consultants that deliver customized training, consulting, and outsourcing services for companies that are looking to improve their test and quality assurance practices. RBCS has helped hundreds of companies reduce development costs and support costs while assuring the best quality products are delivered to their customers. I'm the author of Pragmatic Software Testing, Advanced Software Testing Volumes 1 and 2, Foundations of Software Testing, Critical Testing Processes, and Managing the Testing Process. I hold a degree in Computer Science and Engineering from UCLA. Also past president of the International Software Testing Qualifications Board and the American Software Testing Qualifications Board. Before we start the presentation, a couple of housekeeping notes. If you have any questions during the course of the webinar, please feel free to submit them throughout the presentation via your webinar interface. There's no need to ask for presentation copies, as the presentation will be on the web at www.rbcs-us.com. Now, if you're having problems with either the audio or visual components of this webinar, please contact GoToWebinar support. If for whatever reason you cannot get to the webinar online, or if you are dealing with an unreliable connection, please download the slides from the basic library at www.rbcs-us.com and be sure to use the telephone to connect rather than voice over IP. Okay, on with the show. So today's presentation, this is fun. It's about doing stupid things. Not being stupid on purpose, of course, but with the best of intentions. So over the last 26 years, you can imagine that, like anybody else, I've done some stupid things as a test professional. And working with thousands of clients, vendors, course attendees, and others, I've seen other people do stupid things too. Bottom line, stupid happens. So today we'll look at stupid things that people have done in the hopes that we can all learn how not to be stupid in the same way in the future. So, on the note of being stupid, we open up with the Three Stooges here, clearly plotting something not very bright, and the misadventures will ensue. And I don't know about you, but every now and then I've been on a project and I've looked around and I've asked myself, which of the Stooges am I right now? And I'm going to go through a few ways where I found myself in that position or saw other people that should have been asking that question of themselves. Okay, now, one of the things I think is important here is that we be honest with ourselves, and at least, even if we don't want to admit it to others, that we have all done dumb things. I mean, I'm trying to make this sound funny and be light about it because I think sometimes we get all ashamed. Oh, I can't believe I did that, and you try to hide stuff, and it really, maybe there are political reasons for doing that within an organization, but if you won't admit it to yourself, then you can't avoid doing it in the future if you can't admit something is a mistake. And also, I think it's good for us to look at dumb things that other people have done in an attempt to avoid doing those. I know the saying that any fool can learn from his own mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. So I'm going to give you a rundown of 10 things that I think are dumb. And I'm going to explain to you why they are dumb. And I'm going to try to give you some ideas on how to avoid it, because it certainly doesn't do us any good if I say this is stupid, but I don't give you any clue as to how not to do the stupid thing. Now, these are going to be specifics, and at the end of the talk, I'm going to get into something a little bit more generic, which is how to develop a plan to find other dumb things that you might be doing and convert your test team into a smart team. Okay, this list is in no particular order, just the order in which things occurred to me as I was creating this presentation. So first on the list is falling in love with a tool. I'm all for tools, don't get me wrong, but one should approach them with a clear-eyed strategy and a sense of what is to be accomplished with them. Now, one company many years ago, we had an automated test system that allowed us to submit thousands of queries to the application under test, which was a database query tool that ran on multiple operating system database combinations. And so we had these queries, and we ported these queries across all sorts of different supported OS database combinations, and we would run them and compare the expected results. We thought it was great. We loved it. We spent a lot of time propagating that tool and its test capabilities across different platforms. Okay, well, this is reminiscent of the old line about you give the child a hammer and the whole world becomes a nail. What we tested and tested and tested and tested was correctness of queries across different operating system database combinations. Now, basically what that is a form of compatibility testing, right? And that's fine. Compatibility testing is important, and correctness of query results for a query tool is obviously very important. But there were a bunch of other aspects of the tool that we didn't, or the system that we didn't test. Why? Because the tool couldn't test them. Now, as you can imagine, we missed bugs in those areas, and customers were angry. Customers were calling up tech support saying, "What's up with you guys? I can't believe you sent us this software. It won't install properly, or the user interface is horrible." And this created, of course, a lot of heat being directed at us. Now, what we came to realize was, hey, we need to have some manual testing to cover these additional important areas that we can't test with the tool. And so that was a very important lesson. Don't let a tool dictate what you will and won't test. A tool is a means to an end, but your coverage, what you need to test, is something that you need to understand and analyze and decide and build consensus on before you go running off to do your testing. You need to make sure that the tool is not in charge of your strategy, but rather your strategy is in charge of your tool. Okay, now this one is no fun, but it must be said. If you are a manager, director, some person who has direct reports, at some point or another in your career as such, you will need to fire someone. You will need to get rid of somebody. And one of the biggest mistakes you can make when you're in that situation is to not do it, to dodge that responsibility because it's just too hard. And it is hard. It's hard on multiple levels. In some cases, there are a lot of roadblocks that organizations and laws create to try to prevent you from doing that or to make it difficult for you to do that. And it's also just hard on a personal level because, assuming that you're not a complete jerk, you don't actually derive any pleasure from denying somebody their paycheck. But if somebody is in a position they shouldn't be in, then you got to ask yourself, who exactly are you doing a favor here? So here's an example. I had a very discontented employee a number of years ago, and I was working as a test manager. I think the root of the problem was that when I was hired to come in and run that team, the existing team, she felt that she should have been promoted. And I think that the seeds of the problem were laid in that the people who hired me, who brought me in, really didn't plow the field with her properly in the sense of, didn't give her clear reasons why she would not be promoted into that position. So I think she felt like that she had been passed over inappropriately, and so she basically was very resistant to direction, and she would do things that weren't part of her job. She would get engaged with the developers to do debugging. She would make all sorts of disparaging remarks about the rest